Adam Booker premieres original jazz on the playlist.
We all get to a point where we're kind of sick of playing the same standards over and over again, so it's kind of fun to bring new tunes into the canon.
You're only limited by your imagination. Like I said, anything that creates light is going to be a brush for you.
Photographer Jamie Raybould innovates with light. A radio drama set in Duluth invites us to take it with you.
We're hoping that, that you come and you're entertained and you have a good time, but also that you leave feeling a little closer to your community and that you've learned something in the process.
These artists and more up next on your playlist.
Funding for the playlist is provided by the citizens of Minnesota through the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
Adam Booker has put together an impressive group of jazz musicians to debut new material from his first recording. Please welcome Adam Booker and friends to the playlist.
It is an obsession. Once you start doing it, you can't stop doing it. Working in the dark's a little bit different. You don't just grab your camera and focus it and take your picture. You got to do a lot of things ahead of time. I set it on bulb, which means as long as the button's up, the camera's shooting. My name's Jamie Raybold, and I'm a light painter. The tools of the fun trade. These I spin orbs and do all kinds of stuff with. The whole wire lights up. It creates a really nice smoke fire effect. This makes awesome little tornadoes. You're only limited by your imagination. Like I said, anything that creates light is going to be a brush for you. Now this is the stuff that I'm enjoying doing more, is this kind of stuff. I'm going to try and do an orb and some smoke.
Most people can't believe we could do this in one shot.
"99% of the time, it's one single image. We do it all with, you just leave the camera open and you just take the shot. You just build it and just keep building on the shot until you get what you want.
I think you did a pretty good job there. It's really tough to make the orbs to get the top and the bottom to actually close together.
Landscape shooting, I love it. I'll always love it. It was one of my first passions, but when I started doing this, it just kind of got equal to it. The more I look at other people's work, the more I want to just keep doing it. Me knowing the effort that I put into it, I gotta say I like most of them, but I don't accept most of them. When the clarity is right on, when the color is right on, and there's no, when I'm spinning an orb, if it closes perfectly, then those are the shots I like.
Welcome to Take It With You Live Radio Theater from Duluth, Minnesota.
Blake Thomas is the founder and creative force behind Take It With You Radio, a radio drama created right here at the Underground.
Yeah.
Thank you, Blake, for taking time with us night before a big performance.
Absolutely. No, I'm so excited to talk to you.
Tell me a little bit about the premise behind Take It With You.
For me, it kind of draws more on the old radio programs of the 40s and 50s where they're more story-based, but using those elements of kind of Americana and folk music, that type of stuff that you'll find on a Prairie Home Companion or things of that ilk.
So tell me about the character that you play, and it seems to all revolve around your character, am I right?
Yeah, the character I play is Blake. Blake doesn't have a last name yet, I don't think, in our world. And he owns a tavern here in Duluth that is also a music venue. And the story is just kind of about Blake and all of the folks that are that either work in the tavern or are regulars and frequent, and then it's a bar. Anyone can come in and anything could happen, and that's been a lot of fun. Who is knocking? Hello, we're open.
Oh, hello there. Listen, we haven't formally met. I'm Cherry.
How does an episode develop? How does the script develop, and how do you get those characters in there?
Well, there are a number of just extremely talented people from around the community that are a part of this, and so we get together and talk about kind of individual character story arcs for an entire season. Once we kind of have this this idea in place of how we want the story to go, we then start to look at like who the special guest is going to be for that month, and figure out a way to weave what they do into the storyline.
Guys, oh my God, guys, there's something going on. Something is happening.
What? What is it, Zach?
Do you see this?
Oh, hey, that's Tom Isbell's book.
It's not just any book, it's the book. I think Tom is telling me something. Instructions. Guys, I think I'm being hunted.
There are these threads of the solid storyline that go through it, and we just kind of pile things on top. That makes it sound kind of chaotic, but
There's a plan.
there's a plan.
A structure.
There's a plan.
What's the biggest challenge of doing live radio?
All of that preparation that actually goes into it is hard to keep track of, and that's the tough thing. Once we actually get here, it's great, and we need to enunciate that too.
Your background is in music, am I right?
Yes. Yeah, I spent a number of years traveling around the country playing, coffee shops and bars and theaters, and that was the first thing I really fell in love with. And then I started doing more work in theater when Mary and I started dating, because she's an actor, and our lives just kind of crossed in that way, and she kind of started doing more music, and I started doing more theater, and I think this is kind of the culmination of all of that stuff.
As an audience member, what do you hope they get out of it?
First and foremost, we just hope that they come and they're entertained, but also the sense of community that we felt is really amazing. We always want to have some element of our show that you can leave, thinking like, hey, this is a musician I've never heard of before, and now I've been exposed to that. Or these are the laws around the distillation of alcohol in Duluth. All of these things. So we're hoping that, that you come and you're entertained and you have a good time, but also that you leave feeling a little closer to your community, and that you've learned something in the process.
Well, Adam Booker, welcome to the playlist.
Thanks for having us. Thank you.
What a wonderful set.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. So tell me about these guys that you're playing with. How often do you get to play with them?
Not nearly often enough. The keyboardist Ryan Fraines, director of jazz studies here at UMD, he's a great friend of mine, fantastic musician. Tim Stratiotti is a local legend jazz musician. He's been around for a while. And then young Ben Ophoven Baldwin, nice long hyphenated name. Great drummer, is a student here at UMD as well. So
This is all your music. How do you roll that out to other people?
that's, you just kind of bring it to the show, I guess. We all get to a point where we're kind of sick of playing the same standards over and over again, so it's kind of fun to bring new tunes to into the canon.
So you have a new project that's called Unraveled Rivals.
Unraveled Rival. That's it's my debut CD. I'm very happy about that. You know, I've been on a lot of CDs as a sideman, as a bass player, and bass by its nature, as it sits in the ensemble, is usually a support role. But finally got enough tunes together, and it's okay. I'm gonna make my own disc. So.
In jazz, having those moments of improv where you pass the lead around, generally it doesn't spend much time on the bass.
No, and it's kind of funny. It's an old joke that bass always goes last. It's a humbling experience being a bass player. You don't really have to worry too much about being the star, and it's kind of a nice spot to be in sometimes.
You are from Texas, so when I think Texas music, I think Stevie Ray Vaughan and big guitars and not necessarily jazz music. How did that kind of click for you?
Well, full disclosure, I'm not originally from Texas. I'm a military brat. My dad was actually an Army bandmaster. He ran the Army's Jazz Ambassadors for about 7 years. That's like the Army's top touring jazz ensemble. And kind of got into me that way. And we ended up in Texas in high school, and there was a great jam session there that a group called Small World, Polly and Kyle, drummer that sang beautifully, and a guitar player that played 7-string guitar and had like this nifty little bass pedal thing that she could do at the same time. And a lot of the guys that I grew up with going to that jam session are still playing today. So it's, you know, that's one of the best parts about jazz, is just this passing on this oral tradition, and hopefully the graciousness as well.
So what's it like to be adding music to that canon?
Scary. It's very scary. It's once it's recorded, once it's released, once it's out there, and that's what it's going to be. That being said, I have one more mixing session on it, but you know, at that point, it's like I have to. Okay, it's done. It's out there, and it's not mine anymore. It's only mine if I want to play it at that particular point in time.
So tell me the name of your new release and how are we going to find it?
Okay, the CD is going to be called Unraveled Rival. It will be released on Shifting Paradigm Records. Mark your calendars, everybody, in early July. Yeah, you should be able to download it from there. And of course, it'll be available on iTunes and Amazon and CD Baby, and I'll probably be schlepping around a bunch of hard copies in the back of my car to just in case.
And do you think we can encourage you to do a release show somewhere in town?
Absolutely. It's in the plans. It's in the works.
Awesome. Congratulations, and
Well,
thank you
so
for
much.
sharing your talent.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Cool.
And thank you guys for listening.